Hey, brothers and sisters from the StarkNet ecosystem. Welcome back to the Stark Cafe. This is Nurstar speaking, your personal Stark barista, and once again, we're ready to delight you with some very special StarkNet content. Good morning, guys. Today we're having a UTC Stark Breakfast session, which is going to be very NFT centric, as we are hosting Ezra from Seraph Labs, a Singapore based Web3 lab which created the ERC2114 token standard, which is basically the Starknet version of the ERC3525 token standard created by the Self protocol. These standards introduce the concept of semi-fungible token that can be applied on NFT concepts in a very dynamic, flexible, and personalized way. An example of ERC2114 semi-fungible tokens is being put in practice on Starkpilled, an NFT project by Seraph Lab that wants to raise awareness about the potential of the Starknet solution with community-driven fun initiatives. However, we'll explore more about Starkpilled and the token standard that powers it after introducing our guest for today's Stark Cafe. Hello, Ezra. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, and thanks for the kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Thanks to you, Ezra. It's nice to have such a talented builder with us today at the Star Cafe. And let's start with a brief icebreaker about yourself. And so, would you mind introducing yourself and also telling us a bit about your crypto journey and how you began building in the Starknet ecosystem? Please.
Yep, sure. So I guess I can start from the beginning. I've been involved in the crypto space for quite some time, and I started as a curious observer just after the ETH DAO hack, right? And I'm still in school, and I only started working in the space late 2019 after DeFi summer and before the Solana ecosystem took off, right? So I actually worked my way up from community manager and then to do marketing, head of BD, and then eventually I became a head trader at a family office and venture studio in Singapore. So after that, I've left the family office to start Seraph Labs to focus specifically on onboarding that dApps onto Starknet. And you mentioned why I began building in the Starknet ecosystem, right? So I've always been fascinated by tech. I think when I was like in my teens, I was part of the Dropbox beta, and I was just amazed at cloud computing, cloud storage, right? And so um, yeah, the reason why we're building on Starknet is simple. I like to frame it with a simple phrase, right? If you're in crypto for the tech, you're in it for Starknet. And because crypto ultimately is a software and it needs to scale, and Gideon Kainfer during the Starknet 2023, his talk about layer threes and the appetite and demand for dApps to run, uh, I think what he presented about recursion-based network layering plus Stark seemed to be the best scaling solution for L2. I think that talk was quite influential and really cemented my belief in Starknet. So actually, after getting into the Starknet ecosystem, looking at the community, I've never really looked back.
Awesome, Isra. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for this intro about your background and also about the reason why you decided to build on Starknet. And let's start this episode. Let's start going deeper in this episode by
Yep.
talking about the tech core of the Starkfield project, which is the ERC 2114 token standard. So I would like to know. Which is the vision that made you create at Seraph Labs
Right. Yes.
this standard? And furthermore, could you briefly explain the difference between the legacy ERC 721 standard and the semi-fungible token standards such as ERC 2114 and ERC 3525?
Cool. Yeah, I'll do my best to explain it. So ERC2114 is a product that we built based off a goal that we wanted to achieve, right, for a different product. And what we actually wanted to do was have a token standard that could entirely represent the entire economy of an on-chain game, right? and tokenize it as well. And ERC721's and the current gold standard of gaming tokens, ERC2114, they suffer from pretty rigid fungibility, and they're just not, to put it simply, it's not dynamic, right? So the vision for ERC2114 came after we at Seven Labs decided that we wanted to build an on-chain game. Unfortunately, we did not end up doing that, but the infrastructure was there, right? And we felt that this could potentially spur a new narrative or perhaps a new paradigm for the NFT industry that would go beyond just simple NFT collections. This NFT is represented in their game, and it's just one sword. It's can't really upgraded, right? Under the 1155 token standard, if you were to upgrade something, you would have to basically burn that token and be issued a new one that says that this, for example, this sword has been upgraded. That is not what on-chain gaming really is about, right? What we care about provenance. So yeah, that's the basics of ERC2114 in that we have allowed tokens to have attribute IDs and own other tokens. This enables the representation of complex entities such as a game character, which could be your digital avatar, right, with various attributes, owned items, right, as a single token on chain, right. But I also like to note that for ERC2114, it's sort of like a combination of ERC3525 in that we are not entirely separate, but we are. So it's kind of hard for me to explain it. And you also mentioned that we sort of abandoned ERC721, whereas the architecture of ERC24 is quite different in that sort of how Starknet is the layer 2 to Ethereum, and we're not abandoning Ethereum if we're on Starknet, right? ERC24 and 3525 are extensions of ERC721, right? And with a combination of the whole, right, assuming that the 214 architecture and 3525 architecture is combined with the layer 1, the ERC721, we get ERC2144. So it's not separate. We still maintain that we are extensions of ERC721, and we don't really abandon that. But yeah, basically 2144, you can upgrade. I mean, sorry, you can upgrade your items, in-game items on chain. You can unequip and unequip your pill, right, or your character. We just wanted to create the Web2 shopping experience on chain in terms of cosmetics, right? Because digital cosmetics is a big industry. Many people are buying skin yeah, I don't think I have to say much about like skins and cosmetics in games. It's a huge industry, right? So let me circle back and ask pose a question, I guess. If an NFT currently represents your digital identity, right? In example, you buy a board ape, this is now yours, right? Wouldn't you want to go a step further and customize it to your exact liking, right? Because right now the RNG generated whole is not that exciting, right? And it doesn't keep your friends within the ecosystem because once they buy 10,000, let's say you have mint 10,000, once they buy it, they either buy more, but they could often get priced out, right? Because you have to pay for another whole NFT. Sure, you could use Blend, but what if the main character was basically free to mint, almost free to mint, and what you're actually trading are the traits, right? Customizing it to your liking. So it's an NFT project that has the capability to make the whales like stand out, have the ability to make it a really premium collection in terms of how each traits are priced. And there are also lower price traits that people can buy and trade, right? If they don't want to spend 50 ETH on an NFT collection. That was the main vision of ERC2144.
Well understood, Ezra. And you gave us a very good explanation about all these standards and what they bring in terms of innovation on the table and what makes them different from the 71, or what do they had to the legacy 721 standard. and also the difference between the ERC2114 and ERC3525 token standard. And having said that, it's now time to speak a bit more about Starkpilled, the Starkpilled project that you're building on Starknet. So I would like to know, in brief, could you describe to us what Starkpilled is and what makes it different from PFP NFT projects?
Yeah, so sure, can definitely do that. So Starkpilled is a fun side project that we at Self Labs are working on as a showcase of ERC2114 and what it can do. So we kept things simple. There are only two traits, right? There's the facial trait and the background they can use on a pill, and we leverage on this whole pill, like red pilling, blue pill, Stark pill meme, right? So how we're building it is that we're looking to make this a community project. But okay. Back to your question, right? You said what makes it different for other NFT projects. So I guess to keep things simple, um, Starkpilled brings me back to my point earlier about reframing NFT projects as digital avatar collections that represent your on-chain identity. Yeah, we're moving away from the RNG generator whole. We want users to be able to customize the base character, choose the traits, and then do whatever they want with it. Right? We are looking to uh, showcase the infra for an NFT project that can go beyond what you currently see on the market, right? Having new traits.
Very good. Thanks a lot, Ezra, for that. And I had been giving a look at Starkpilled, and obviously, at first in the past months, because I tend to be a bit, I need to be a bit careful when covering NFT projects, because sometimes, they're just only about PFPs, and maybe
Yep.
they're just, money grabber, and there's no utility or innovation behind some of these projects sometimes. So it's
Yes.
a tricky field, also to cover as a content creator. But as soon as I digged a bit deeper also into your project in details, I was very fascinated by this new standard, and also the new utilities that this standard brings to the space, because you're basically going to have a very dynamic NFT where there is like a kind of, explained in simple words, you have a kind of base, which is the basically the NFT, and then on top of the NFT you can place like kind of skins, as you were like kind of traits, these traits that are like skins that can be either applied or removed from the base NFT. This gives a lot of personalization to the NFT itself, and also, as you said, you can use this kind of standard, this kind of new NFTs, or of this semi-fungible token, kind of utility that represents your own process or your own progress, sorry, on chain.
Yep.
Could be a game, could be your own chain activities if you want to reward also your users, if you're like a DeFi protocol, if you want if you want to to reward your users or the DeFi users, you can give a look at which users have a particular trait, because by having the trait, it means that they've been using a particular DeFi project or
Yep.
DeFi primitive, stuff like that. So I see a lot of potential in this new token standard, because it has, as you said, a lot of dynamicy. It becomes very dynamic, and this is
Yep.
what we need in the NFT space right now, because
Mm.
it's pretty saturated, with the
Yep.
PFP concepts, and it's the potentials behind the NFT technology is endless. So I think this standard, these kind of standards are going towards the right direction. And yeah, having said that, I would like to know a bit more about, I was giving a look at your website, and we can see that these pills can have different traits, as you said.
Hmm.
So how do these traits work? And can we trade them without losing our pill, which is our NFT?
Yes. Currently, you cannot trade traits in a user-friendly way. The individual traits are listed on, like, let's say, min square, yeah, set to min square go, and aspect. And yes, you can unequip the trait and then list it on aspect to trade it. But we ideally, we would have our own marketplace for us to trade trades on our site, because how why do we develop this ERC2114? I mean, yes, it's about supporting like on-chain games and like all these projects, right? But it's also about the unbundling of like major consumer products like OpenSea, because you want the best user. The only way you can you can bring your fans the best user experience is through having your own site, right? If I want, I'm not going to have a great trading experience trading on Aspect for Starkpilled simply because it's ERC2114 and it's very hard to make them support it. Whereas we can create we are creating our own marketplace protocol based off Open Seaport, right? And it allows us to trade trades. But that's in for after Cairo One is being after Cairo One is finished. So the project right now we're pretty much experimenting with cool features like L1 to L2 bridging. You can see there's also a redeem area, right? We can verify that if you a own an NFT of a particular project on Ethereum, we will issue you a special trait on Starkpilled, right? And it shows up in your backpack. So there's a lot of user UI stuff to work on, for sure, before Starkpilled. I would say Starkpilled is just it's V1 right now. It's a proof of concept, right? It's meant to showcase ERC2114. It's meant to showcase what Starknet can do, right? And uh, so if you're asking what my plan is for now, and how the trades are going to work. Yes, there'll be a marketplace for the trades, and the trades also gives us an avenue for recurring revenue. In traditional NFT projects, once it's sold out, you lose an opportunity to cater to your true fans. And by focusing on trades, you release new trades every season, right? And giving users a digital avatar that is cheap. Well, and you consistently release new trades, and your biggest fans and their money will always stay in your ecosystem. So yeah, we realized that we're setting up the infra for a DAO for a potential NFT project. I mean, we hope that one day another project will use this infra for their NFT project, and the NFT project will hopefully be more complex, right? Because right now we just offer two traits, but yeah. So the traits, what we want to do with them, we're going to be offering limited edition traits with certain partners in the Starknet ecosystem. So Starkpilled is meant to be a community-owned project, right? To reward creators on that Starkpilled people, like I said, we're leveraging on the Starkpilled meme. So everybody that mints a Starkpilled has become Starkpilled, right? And we can feed them with knowledge, but what if we could build a community around supporting content creators on Starknet that, in essence, Starkpills people? So content creators like yourself, Peter, Aaron's, ideally we will have a Starkpill DAO where 80% of the funds, right, are managed by the DAO, and 20% will go for development. And the only thing, or rather, the key issue that the DAO will vote on is which content creator to sponsor, right? Because having leverage and Starkpilled meme makes our choices much easier. We're just looking at Starknet content creators. We don't have to focus on other ecosystems. So on that end, I think making Starkpilled running the UI and setting it down for after the release of Cairo One, I think it'll be I think it'll be an interesting experiment, because at the end of the day, Starkpilled was an experiment, and we just kept building, and we arrived here, right? And um, yeah, I also like to say, or rather announce that, well, it's not done officially, but this is what the plans are for anyone who's concerned. Uh, when Starkpilled V2 comes out on mainnet, uh, the DAO, we will be giving our early adopter grant from Starkware to the DAO treasury. and hopefully that will sort of bootstrap the Starkpilled ecosystem, and people will actually start participating in it. We will actually have funds to give the content creators. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome announcement, Ezra. Congratulations for that. I think it's a very mindful move to boost also the activity of the future DAO that we'll be speaking about in the next questions. But yeah, thanks a lot also for giving some attention and also some importance to the content creators on Starknet. I think we need many more content creators that will be they will be evangelizing the world,
Yes.
that will start peeling the world, with some cool content.
Yes.
So I think thanks a lot
Yeah.
in behalf,
So the vision of
all the
Starkpilled
content
is
creators.
simple, right? We're evangelizing the world. And I think having that vision boiled down, this rather distilled into something that is very straightforward. We're here to evangelize the world about Starknet, right? I think if once, since our goal is so simple, the DAO should uh, should function quite efficiently. But I'm just speculating. Hopefully, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Isra. We can also remind our listeners that, regarding this announcement of relocating some of the early adopter grants to the Starkpilled DAO is still not an official move, but it's in on the plan. However, I would also spend some words on the leaderboard because I was giving a look at your website, as I
Yes.
said previously, and how is this leaderboard structured? What kind of role does the fame parameter plays in it?
Right. So the leaderboard was originally an idea thought of by my full stack dev. Uh, so this thing was actually inspired by an old feature of MapleStory by Nexon, right? Where you can see the top players in the server. So my full stack dev and I used to spend a lot of time just tracking the progress of the highest level players in the server, just seeing if they leveled up or not. And we wanted to do that for Starkpilled, right? So in a way, the fame represents a simple implementation of on-chain. Rather, sorry, the the fame, you can basically downvote or upvote pills, right? And it emits one fame per day, or rather, each pill and each premium trade, right, emits one fame per day. And fame is an attribute ID stored by the base pill. So, uh, it, all fame is right now is a simple demonstration of an on-chain system for reputation, right? We do not have any utility for it other than for fun. Whereas, but when we transition to the DAO, I think this faming system will have to be refined. So the fame will essentially represent your ownership of the DAO, or rather how important you are to the DAO. But we still haven't figured out the exact mechanics for that.
I see. Thanks a lot for explaining to us how this fame parameter works. And you previously mentioned the construction of a DAO in the coming months. And I would like to know a bit more about how you are going to plan this important and very meaningful step, because uh, creating a DAO is not an easy task. It
Yep.
involves a lot of possibilities. So, what's your plan in this direction?
Right. So you realize that right now we're moving quite slow for Starkpilled. We don't do much marketing and we don't do much advertising, and we only post when there's major updates or new releases of new functions, right? Uh, so it is how we're going to get it out there, build the DAO, and go to market strategy. Right now, we're just focused on talking to Starknet specific influencers like yourself, the seeing what you guys think, and perhaps assemble a separate team, right? I mean, still composed of Labs people to build out Starkpilled, because we did bootstrap it with we boosted the treasury by we're going to be giving all our tokens to the treasury, right? So that's us bootstrapping the DAO, and how we're going to build that out. It'll be the DAO. I think would rely very heavily on a framework that we have to devise of ERC2114, it won't work function as like how traditional DAOs would. We want to do something different and see what ERC2114 can do with DAOs. But that's still in the early planning stages. So yeah, I will say that it's everything right now. It's still in planning stages. We're just trying to figure out how to do this in the coolest way possible. So it will take time for sure to build out everything and to get assembled the right team.
Absolutely, I can imagine. It also it involves a lot of responsibilities, so you'll have to plan this very carefully. And having said that, now we are coming to the end of today's Star Cafe, and I must admit I've been having a great time by speaking to you, Ezra. And how will the future of Starkpilled look like in the coming months? I mean, and also I would like to know what's your approach to the upcoming Starknet V012 and to Cairo 1.0?
Mm. Okay, so honestly, we're just currently focused on optimizing our token libraries for Cairo 1.0 because the release of Cairo 1 isn't a simple upgrade, right? It's an upgrade that requires us as builders to first find out what this powerful language is capable of doing because we don't know the true extent of what this new programming language can do, right? And we want to capitalize on all its available strengths. So, yeah, we're just waiting for Chiron to come out and see what we can do. While in the meantime, slowly talking to people who might be interested in helping us out, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Looking forward to the next developments around the Start Build project, and also around the next product that the Seraph Labs will come out with in the coming years as well. So yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Isra. And having said that, I don't know if any from the audience, if any listener would like to ask Isra for a question. I'll give you 20 seconds in order to send me the permission to speak. And if there's any question, I'll be glad to ask them to Isra. So hold on 20 seconds, guys. So I think there are no questions from the audience. I take advantage to thank the audience, the live audience, so much for being here, for taking some of the very precious time to be with us today. The Star Cafe took place a bit earlier than usual today, so I hope this wasn't problematic for you. But yeah, once again, thanks a lot. And above all, thanks a lot to our amazing guest at today's Star Cafe, Isra. Thanks once again. I wish you all the best with Starkpilled and the Seed of Lots.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting me as well. It's been a great time.
Amazing. So, guys, it's time to close. Remember sharing the Starknet vibe and see you the next time. Bye.
Yep.
Bye, everybody. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye, Isra.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks to
Yep.
you.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks.